Woo, I was jamming.
How's it going?
Hello.
Hey, what's
Glad to
up?
meet you.
I was just trying to pull up the YouTube stream so I always pop out the chat. Wait, this isn't Game Theory Gang. Where's Crispy?
Hey.
And it's like is it a time warp? We got Karim back in the Game Theory Gang. It's like I'm freaking out, and that doesn't look like Wales Only.
Well,
You got
look,
it for the night.
A little shapeshifter going on.
all three of you are amazing. You're in this panel to talk about onboarding people into HEX and to just show off your amazing personalities. I value each of you, and I'm going to let you guys take it away and discuss on your panel what you see fit about HEX.
Thanks, Maddie. You're killing it, bro. Great work.
Thanks.
What's up, guys? So, Karim, the last time I saw you, it was like 4 a.m. I'm like trying to grab a cab to the airport because it's like I decided to go out with all you crazy people in Miami after the premiere. And man, I don't know. I guess when you're doing bottle service in the bottom of the bear, you're not scared, right? You're not scared. We knew these days were coming, but it's good to see you, bro, and be on stream with you. And then Whitney, it's like we just met in the green room. Big fan of yours on X.
Same.
So we've got the onboarding as our topic for our hour, and I'm very interested to see kind of. I think Karim and I, both of our onboarding techniques are pretty well known, but I would love to hear kind of your take on onboarding. Maybe if you want to do an introduction for those that might not be aware of you, that would be a good place to start, and then we can kick it off.
Yeah, happy to be here. Hey, I'm Whitney Magic, and I have been specializing in onboarding specifically spiritual and conscious women into crypto. And it's been a big barrier to entry for a lot of women who they want to get in and get the exposure, but they don't have the financial literacy, let alone want to even know where to begin with crypto. And so I've really trying to break down crypto in the sense of things that are not as technical and a lot more of like, how do you spot where things are moving in the world? And align to innovation and align to things that are lasting. And time again, people not only get it and get bit by the crypto bug, but also they're like, Pulse, HEX, we get it. We're here to ride. It's lasting value. It's changing the world. And it's also building the new earth. And I think that a lot of people are aligned to that because they're like, we're sick of the old world. We know things are broken. We want to align to hope. And we want to align to the newness of the world and be rewarded for that with the freedom that comes with that. So that's been a big jam of mine, is really just seeing wealth shift into the hands of women in the hands of good.
Nice. Was that an Eckhart Tolle reference? A New Earth?
No, but New
Kinda?
Earth is more like a spiritual. It's a spiritual
Okay.
concept, but it's also just like the old world right now, and we're shifting into the new earth. So like, yes, Eckhart Tolle has that, but essentially it's a normal thing.
Got it. Right on. Cool.
Nice.
So what's going on with you, Karim? What's should we address the elephant in the room? Should we talk about Staker app and just get that out of the way? Because I'm sure people. That's kind of been the topic of discussion for the last week or so. I'm sure you were probably. I'm not to put words in your mouth. I'm guessing you were as shocked as anyone else. I know you haven't worked with them for a long time now, I'm just curious of your take on it. I mean, since you had more contact with Steph and those guys, just kind of how you're feeling about all of this right now.
Yeah, well, first of all, glad to be here. But it was a surprise to me as well, because since the Pulse Chain conference, I kind of took a different role and kind of stepped back and just, focus on onboarding and traveling. And, Richard Hart make me financially free. That was the goal, right? Leading in that direction too. And I just became like a user like everybody else. And like I was telling you guys in the green room, there's a right way to do things. There's a wrong way to do things. Business do come and go. It is nothing new. It has nothing to do with crypto. Richard be talking about it many times. Some people, at least I try to focus on the good, which is, all the good that he has created, all the good of the people that have been onboarded, and making sure that we're not focusing on panic, so to speak. Because yes, it came out as a shock, and, Steph never even communicates, so I had to find out too, like everybody else, but my main focus is, staying committed to the onboard, staying committed to the people, and understanding that, okay, what can be done, right? Because the smart wallet, which has nothing to do with Staker app per se, right, from Gnosis Safe, it's still the best, period. wallet in the world, in terms of DeFi. I mean, that's what Vitalik Buterin used himself. So the key things here, I always tell people, is make sure you do not lose your seed phrase. Make sure you keep those 24 words, because thanks to other community members, especially David Feeder, shout out to him, because, the tool that he created to also help people, be able to claim their Hedron, they still be able to access their smart wallet that way, via MetaMask as well. So, you got that. Plus also, Staker did mention in the tweet that they will come up with a web version that's going to be running, for the next 10, 15 years coming, they say a couple of days. So probably this week. So the last thing we want is to, create panics. And the thing that I'm the most proud about, is the fact that most people that were using Staker app, they were long-term thinkers. They had their dream account, just like I have mine too, because I migrated some of my stuff there too, right? Always have skin in the game. So fortunately for those people, for the most part, they don't have any major stakes coming due now. So by the time everything gets shuffled around, people use all the tools that's going to coming up, then that can just be, pass behind us. But for the record, yeah, just like everybody else, I didn't know. But what do I always do, right? I'm a man of actions. Like, what can we do, right? Let's not be like, oh my God, oh, woe is me, and be like victims. No, let's adapt, let's shift, let's get shit done, and then let's move forward. So again,
amen, bro.
Members to help us do that, and then we're going to transition and move forward.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little panicky for a minute there, and then even myself, when I first saw, I think Too Spooky had put something out, I'm like, what's going on? It's like, and then because the communication wasn't blasted everywhere from Steph, and then Staker app did put out some tweets around the time that the news was coming out, thankfully, but a lot of people weren't even aware of that tweet. So if you go to @Staker app on Twitter, you can see what their roadmap looks like, and that alone, I think, would have dispelled a lot of the panic if that was just more broadly known right off the rip, because they do intend to do a web app from and yes, I'm Tobiwan, the eternal optimist. Hate me all you like. However, this is real. This is real. This is real. It's like they are saying that not only will you be able to end your stakes on Staker app on the Ethereum chain and on Pulse chain through the web app, just like you could on the app, but you now can also claim your Hedron, which you could not do before. So there's actually a little bit of a silver lining, because I know there were a lot of people, I onboarded a ton of people through Staker. We can't take away the great impact it had in the early days of building the community and building the excitement. Staker was a great product for its time, and, props to Steph and the team, Karim, when he was working there, Firebun, all those guys did, great work and helping, advance the community, right? And it's like, how many people were doing screenshots, on the all-time highs of their Staker app, like every 5 minutes, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And it built excitement. And then, and there were a lot of people out there that used it just as a viewer. They didn't have any exposure at all. They were just using it for that. Yeah, right. I mean, most people were not using it to stake on, and were using it just to view their stuff. So they didn't have any exposure. And in a kind of roundabout way, that lack of support might have led to him not having the revenue stream that he had hoped. And we can only speculate, but the silver lining, I think, is
that's what's funny, right? Because it's a catch-22. Because on the app, I remember when I started working there, the data was crazy. The average staking length was over 9.5 years, almost 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you want a reason why the staking average pushed to 6+ and almost 7 years. Like, I'm not trying to say solely staking app, but a major part of it came from that. But the funny thing is, people are not transacting, right? It's stake and chill. So then you chill, so there's no revenue, right? So it's kind of like, it's a catch-22, because you do what you're supposed to do, but then, obviously bear market comes, so you kind of slow the inflow of new on board, but it's just a game of how long can you last, and then, make it to the next cycle, that thing. So.
Right. So yeah, so I think the takeaway for me, and I think we'd probably be in agreement, Karim, on this, is that there's a silver lining. They got the web app on the way. It's going to give people access to their wallets, so they can end their stakes on both chains and actually go ahead and claim their Hedron, which they weren't able to do before. And hopefully that'll be up in the next few days. And that'll kind of take care of that little bit of FUD, because I think that did contribute to our recent dip. People didn't understand what was happening, and anytime you have that, then that may contribute to poor price performance, right? Or performance, whatever that is.
Well, HEX, Steph did also, sold. So that's also why, But
Yeah, I heard that too. It's like I
case-
didn't want to. Yeah, I didn't want to speculate. I didn't do the deep dive on the blockchain stuff, and I typically don't like to talk about other people's money. So I mean, if he did, hey, that gave opportunity. It's like I bought the dip. It's
Exactly.
like I'm always, yeah, right. It's like I've always got my limit orders set. I'm down for a dip anytime, and happy I did on this last one because we have absolutely gone ballistic over the last couple of days even. So it's been fun. And there's no better onboarding tool than green candles, right? It's like,
Yes.
people see green candles, and it makes all the work that we're putting in for free, mind you, to promote and educate people. It makes it look inconsequential because the green candles are really what does the trick, right?
Yeah, it helps speed it up.
Right.
So
Whitney, yeah, go ahead. I was going to ask you about your onboarding techniques in particular. We talked about it a little bit in the green room. But if you had something else, if you had a different train of thought, please.
No, I'll go with that. So my onboarding techniques for myself, I start off with like when people come to me, they're not asking for HEX or Pulse Chain. They're not knowing about any of this stuff. They might have only heard about Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum. And so it's my job as a guide to really focus on education with them of understanding the problem. Like I say the first things first is build a strong crypto conviction. And I find even in our space too, like a lot of the like Twitter FUD comes when people haven't done enough research or haven't gotten strong enough on their convictions, whether that has been first with crypto or second, it has been with Pulse Chain, HEX, or whatever else you're investing in. And so the first things first that I always like to do is build that conviction. And then once we're getting into that layer, my background is formerly as an engineer. And so I like to teach people to like, I huge, like just nerding about how to reverse engineer this stuff. Cause I was like, I got into my first entry was in Cardano in 2020 and in HEX in 2020, right before a big payday. And so I was fortunately gifted those as like from my mentor being like, get into this. But then I was on this hunt to be like, wait, I was given this. So how do we reverse engineer this to actually understand what's value in the crypto space? Mm-hmm. And so I've created some frameworks and like a few things that I really take a look at and really emphasize to people around like projects that have value and that are like, we're here right now. Where are the ones that are growing? A lot of that goes back to the founder. Obviously, we got a very strong, loyal one who's also continuously pumping energy out towards us to be like, hey, community, keep growing. Hey, his intentions are very pure, very loyal, very strong, also very much aligned to where like the world is growing. And then the other side of things I like to look at is community, which us as whether we want to admit it or not, it's very evangelistic of us. We're creating a movement. We're saying we believe in this. We see this part of the future. And I like to find other communities that have this passion, this energy, this vibrance of like, there's so much more that is here. And check for Pulse and HEX, we got it. And then beyond that, I like to take a look at like what problems are we actually solving? And then how much growth oriented things do we have in the future? Mm-hmm. And there's like obviously so many mechanisms that we can break down within that, but it's like once people build their convictions and their theses around that, it allows them to actually just have crypto work for them and then go off in their life and be like, oh, I can check into things on X or on YouTube if I so want to, but I don't have to be caught up in this rat race. Instead, I can just keep dollar cost averaging in and keep my plan. I know what the plan is, check back when they need to with me. But other than that, like, it's a pretty straightforward thing. And I find that education is the key to keeping people's emotions level during this process and the volatility.
Awesome. Yeah. But do you know what? That makes me think of Karim's famous scene talking to Kelly Richmond Pope in The Highest of Stakes. Mm-hmm. And he was, and I'll let you take it, about the difference between like gambling and an investment. Like what when you're putting in your DCAing, that's an investment. You're not supposed to touch that bag, right?
Absolutely. I mean, again, she perfectly said it. It starts with the conviction, because then what's happening is you're going to wear that kind of like an armor, because difficulty will come, naysayer will come, FUD will come, this sort of thing. So if you don't truly understand why you started this to begin with, right? If you lose the plot, that's when you actually kind of like lose your soul, and then you easily get swayed. And the next thing you know, you have regrets, you have all those bad things. So it's something that also helps you towards the journey. When I was talking with the lady, I wanted to make that perfect distinction. And that's actually how I was able to onboard her, so to speak, and she got and became a Hexican because tie and tie with what you just said about the conviction. Another very important things that people forget to do, which is very, very easy. And it's not even like you're hyping things up. You're just sharing your story, because over the last couple of days, great people were also on panels and talking about their onboarding method, which is really great. So, but the one thing that I haven't heard is people really focusing on sharing your story. When I share my story to the people, when I literally put my money where my mouth is, when I literally say, hey, this thing is going to retire me. And then he retired me. And then I did the thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to help others build wealth. I wanted to travel, I wanted to do all those things. By sharing that story, especially also as new people come in, they're like, oh, wow, he stayed true. Nothing changed. And then the goal has been accomplished because I never lost the plot, right? The plot was to become financially free. However many, millions that comes along the way, well, that is great. And I'm very grateful. But the number one value was I don't have to work. And even and Dream Account for the haters, Dream Account, even in the 99% dip, that account still billionaire. It even shocked me. I was like, wow, because there's certain things, the real power of HEX, like we say all the time, it's true. It's not, you don't see that in the chart. And this is where the real power of the staking comes in. And of course, there is levels to this. Like I said in the movie, for those who watched it, it's like, it's not everything, 555. Again, the haters love to take sun bites and then switch it and turn it like, oh my God, this, that, and then people don't say no. The OGs and those who really, really pay attention, watch my old videos, they understand Dream Account has 4 levels. And it all comes down to really, really, again, sitting down with yourself, having the conviction, like Whitney perfectly said, tie that with what is the success story you want to create for yourself? What is the plot? What in an investing term, when I talk to people with big accounts and whatever, we talk about in investing, we say, what is your discretionary income? What is the lifestyle that you wish to create? So then when you build the plan, when you have those 15 years, 10, 5, 7, whatever rotation stakes, you know what purpose they serve. It is no longer about how many millions and this and that and whatever. You can trade respectfully. You can trade a shit coin and make money. That's it's not that easy, buy low, sell high, right? But one thing that HEX has that nothing else has is really understanding the power of the T-shares, which then extrapolate that to how it sets you free because it works 24/7, right? Productivity increase literally every year. It grows at a compounding rate, right? I remember back in the day, it was paying 2 HEX per T-shirt. People forget those days. I was there. I already staked back then. I mean, I got stakes running almost 4 years. And now it's like almost 7. Like, it's just like that employee keeps getting better and better over time. You don't see that. And that's not even counting, penalties and all this other stuff. So it's just, it constantly works. It's 24/7. You're buying your freedom. It's working for you. And more importantly, it gives you that discipline. It gives you what Maddie talks about when we talk about wealth syndrome. Like, first time I moved to Miami, I made stupid. I spent like almost 6 figures in a month. I was like, yo, what the hell's going on? Imagine how all my money liquid, it would have been crazy. So it's like you start learning even from.
Wait, did you have a touch of sudden wealth syndrome, Karim?
Oh yeah, that's bro. Yes, when you came, that was the disciplined version.
Yeah, right. I can imagine. I can imagine.
First time I got here, I went up every day for 27 days. I don't even understand how it's possible, but anyway, I digress. Yeah. So it's like. Yep. That discipline really, really came in to remind you, hey, bull market's great, but bear market also comes. Have something that's bulletproof, something that's going to work for you regardless. And for people who are watching right now who are new, I want to remind them also, you are literally in the same position I was when I first got in. The reason why my story was so strong back then is because I wasn't day one, for those who don't know. I came after the first 100X. I came after God will. The difference is, I came with a lot of economic energy, and then I DCA for like 9 months straight while the price was going down negative 87%. I mean, crazy. But again, I had the conviction. I had the plan. I knew what I wanted to build. I built the ladder, and I just shared it with the world. I shared with everybody else. It wasn't financial advice. I called it mathematical advice because I was able to explain to people what is happening, what is those stakes represents. And I've helped countless of people, obviously reach their goal. And because that was what I was happy for them. Because in perspective, Financially free means different for different people, even economic energy wise, because it depends on where you live. It depends on the lifestyle that you have. You know what I mean? For some people, it's literally just $1,000 a month, because where you live, that covers all your bills and your expenses. For some people, it's, $5,000 a month, because maybe they want to take care of family, relatives, and they have multiple bills. For some people, it's $10K a month because maybe they want to travel the world. But the point is, you can't hit a target you don't see, that you don't understand. Once you have that target, coupled with that conviction, now you get to really appreciate seriously how valuable the tool is. You don't have to worry about narrative. You don't have to worry about, trying to scam people or do these other things and like sell your soul to the devil, all this crazy stuff. You don't have to do none of that. You literally just apply what works for you, and then you build from here. And then just to top it off, like before we started, I just made a tweet. Every now and then I do those macro tweets just to kind of put things in perspective for people so they don't lose the plot. We're literally at awesome. The same spot, same energy where I saw the 100x move when we went from literally where we are now, about half a penny, and then we ran literally to 50 cents. It's the same thing. The technicals are looking exactly the same. And more importantly, back then also, remember Tobiwan, there's people bragging in the chat about, we're going to dump on your head 500 million hex, blah, 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 big wallets. And then guess what? They were just washed out. And then we bought the dip. Eventually, the selling pressure stops. And then we just moved on. And some of those people were on suicide watch because the amount of money they sold, what they could have had. Because this is the ultimate power with HEX being true DeFi. You can't sell coins that you don't have. This ain't no manipulation, leverage, all this other stuff. For you to push the price down, you must have coins to begin with. The further you push it down, the more coins you need to push it down. So the faster your wallet gets drawn out. 100 million X sounds scary until we buy it at half a penny. And then it's like, it's nothing. And then once you're out, you're out. You can't come back in. And the next thing you know, when the green candle comes in, you play catch up. And then the slippage, like Manny was just talking about, it just takes it all away. And then again, you lost the plot. Like Johnny will say, I'm quoting everybody that will have an impact on me. Like you gave away your diamonds, not understanding. But my goal is, how do we educate? How do we give the people the value by sharing the story for them to understand what we mean when we say those are diamonds? Because for you to see it like opportunity, you need to internalize it to yourself. Like, diamonds for me was financial freedom, be able to go wherever I want, whenever I want, take care of my mom and all this other stuff. And then my friends, when they come visit me, Tobiwan, this, I tell everybody, every Mexican, they know you're in town, you're in Miami, come party for free, let's go. Like, it's just because that was for me what it represented. And I wish everybody can find that within themselves. So they stop getting caught up with the price and the games and the bickering and just understanding, like, where is your staking ladder right now? Where is your dream account right now? Are you okay with retirement? I remember back in the day when people were like, Karim, it's 15 years. It's so complicated. And then I put it into perspective. When you start working at roughly 20 years old or 21, let's say you graduated, I'm not saying you have to go to college or not, and then you wait until you're 65, that's 45 years. The average person, without complaint, work for 45 years to touch money that doesn't even grow, catching up with inflation. That's how bad it is. And we're sitting here complaining about 15 years. Again, once you start putting things in perspective and you have all those different things and you can have different plans because of how the system works, it really, really helped those people back then to really understand what is that they're holding. And I hope to bring that back. And then now that we're starting 2024 and the sentiment's coming back, but I want people not to lose the plot, because just like before, it accelerated very fast. And next thing you know, you were complaining about how things were too expensive and then they got cheap, but then you forget to buy it. Then they go very expensive again. And then you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't buy a t-shirt. It's $5K. So
yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I'm like, people, yes, I'll concede it is difficult to onboard in a bear market. It is not easy when people look at a chart. They don't understand the bigger picture. They don't even know what a T-share is yet. They don't understand about the delayed gratification. They don't understand about the truth engine. They don't understand how the inflation is drawn out over years and years because it's only paid to stakers. There's all those pieces that they have no idea about. They're just going to look at the chart and be like, I don't know. So it's a little tricky, right? And people might ask, it's like, well, Toby, how are you so bullish when we've been so down for so long? It's because I understand about those other things, right? And all this while, because I've got a well built out staking ladder and I've been earning that yield. It's like I infamously, it's public information, so it doesn't hurt, I guess, to say it again. But I infamously had 20 million liquid HEX at the top. I had a limit order set to sell at 56 cents or 52, something like that. I can't remember. And I canceled it because I'm like, you know what? I don't need the money. The pulse chain's on the way. I've got some holes in my staking ladder, and I kicked it out like 7 years. So now that particular 20 million's already up to like 35 million. So it's like almost doubled already. And this was after big payday. So this wasn't a big payday bonus on that, right? This was September of 21. And so to see it in real time, like, oh wow, it's like that bag's almost doubled. And yeah, is it worth less than it was at all time? I'm sure, but I don't have to get back to all time high for that 20 million hex. That was $10 million at that point. I don't have to get back to 52 cents anymore for that to be.
It blows my mind. I'm so excited. Like people still don't get it. Like exponential growth is a real thing. And then again, that's why it's still on my Twitter. No more that is the eighth wonder of the world. Even when I fully understand, it still fascinates me. Should I do this? I mean, I got something for the haters. Maybe I'll just.
I don't know. Maybe hold save it for the end. Save it for the end.
Wow, it's like exactly what you said, and then it goes out faster. And some of those things we've been saying, like you don't see that in the chart, and then when it compounds, like even when the price goes sideways, you still tremendously benefit.
Yeah,
that's like the one. And go ahead, Whitney. Go ahead.
I don't think a lot of like society-wise and school-wise, we haven't been taught to train our brain that exponential growth is normal and it's realistic. Yes. And everyone is used to climbing the ladder, one grade after the other, the next promotion upon the other. And therefore it's like, this is too good to be true. Or can I really do this? Or like, I should keep it liquid because the market might do that and I should do that. And people haven't trained their minds to actually align their plan to exponential growth for the, hey, I'm going to live for 5 years anyways. I'm going to need that cash at that point. Why don't I just set that up? And then I remove the amount of decisions I have to make and say that I choose exponential growth. That's been a huge part that I'm like, people like the unconditioning, it happens little bit by little bit, but it's the more that we can consume information that's not just around price chart action or whatever it is, but instead more of seeing like, how do you train your mind to untrain it, to align to the way that things can work for you and time can actually work for you. That's where we get to win.
Yes, times becomes an ally and not your enemy. And then one thing that I've always said in the community all the time, because again, it's funny with me, and now I understand why we get along so well, because my background is engineering too. I was computer engineer, environmental engineer. But what I love about reverse engineering and doing that is that, again, repetition. I always say this: repetition is the mother of all skills. It's recommended like bathing. You know what I mean? Every day. The same way, I think that was, SJ. Shout out to SJ yesterday. She said again, she's very self-aware, which I like with her. It's like when she saw around, even some people in the community, sometimes people lost the plot around staking. Because again, you stop bathing, you stop doing that repetition. Oh, it's obvious, Karim. I know about this. I heard about it. But it's like, even me, I always have to have that self-awareness. Like, although I know, I must repeat to myself, like, let's not forget what we hear, what works. And then obviously I already said the ladder and everything like that, I've added to position. But to me, my little trick is, that's why I love onboarding so much and talking to people, because it's my repetition. Because I get to re-explain. I fell in love with the process again about why I did what I did. And the conviction is stronger. And my armor is strong, so strong that when the negativity comes, when the naysayer comes, when the shiny objects, right? Oh, Tobiwan, I'm sure you get your fair share too. To the point where sometimes they have to lie. It's crazy. They'll tag me on Twitter. Just imagine how much richer. I understand why at some point you just turned off the notification reply, because it's like people will just tag me on some random things and scam. Oh, he must have this. He must have, like, I get it. Maybe some OG went that way, but me, it's like, because my armor is strong. And sometimes people come to me when they're like, they get a little sway and they don't understand. And I just put them back in the right path. So it's almost like a dust spell in a way. So those two things allows me to do my repetition.
And that's important. That's important, man. It's like we need the full spectrum of hexagons, right? We need the ones that are just beating the drum about hex and T-shares and truth engine and delayed gratification over and over and over, because that repetition, it's required, right? It took me probably, I was maybe 6 months, 7 months into HEX before I fully understood T-shares and a staking ladder. I was staking, I was creating a ladder, but it looked ridiculous. It looked like a pattern on a shotgun shooting range pattern. I mean, it was just like wham,
How
like
many
everywhere.
did you have? More than
Small
50?
enough, dude. It was. I mean, I wasn't going nuts. I mean, I heard some people doing daily stakes. I mean, God bless those people because that's rough. But I mean, there was no rhyme or reason. And then Bree, God bless her. It's like, I got a hold of her spreadsheet.
Yeah.
She and I started becoming friends. I updated that spreadsheet to make it more user friendly. And Juan Fernandez had a great, price model in the back end that was scary accurate. We talked to Kay, who eventually more or less webified it, and that's stakehex.today. So, you can go there and see the power of T-shares in action. You can test it out and put in like, hey, if I'm putting in $10,000 or $1,000 or $100 worth of HEX today at today's prices, and I'm staking it for 10 years, what's that look like? What's my yield over time look like? And, what's the difference between a 10-year and a 15-year stake and how those things matter, right? So, I mean, I know a lot of this is kind of next level if there's anyone new that's listening, but, it all comes from, back to what Whitney was saying. You got to have that philosophy. You have to have that abundance mindset. You have to have a plan. It's like a power of attraction thing. It's like, Whitney, we can talk later about one of my favorite movies ever, which is, What the Bleep Do We Know, which I'm sure you're familiar with. If you're not, you need to watch it. But it's literally about quantum physics and like how you can attract things into reality just by putting your attention there. And, not getting distracted by, the negativity in the world and, the scarcity mindsets in the world and using math to back it up. I mean, you don't have to be all super, hippy dippy, like there's never a bad thing in the world, or super cynical and dark and everything's horrible. You can be optimistic and then, take your time to back it up with math, right? And see how it works and prove it out. I mean, I'm talking to two engineers here. I feel like I'm the dumb kid on the screen. I got a psychology and a biology degree. It's like I'm not that. I mean, I'm good at math. I am good at math. Yeah.
I think you're also bringing up a really great point just around even scarcity and abundance mindsets. And that, like I like to say, when I first got into crypto, like I had just left the engineering world. COVID had hit. From that myself, I had moved from America to Bali and to New Zealand.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I taken myself out of the bubble because I was like, I know I've been living in bubbles and I need to like rewire my mindset to understand like what actually is reality. How does this work? And so anyways, in this time, as I'm getting into crypto, being mentored and everything, I noticed for myself, I wasn't aware, but my mindset was very much in scarcity mode. And I was able to look back in time and see that. But as an investor, I bring this up because like, if anyone is feeling like very emotionally driven with a lot of their investments, there might be something, whether that's been like housing places, relationships, decisions in your life that make you respond in scarce ways. And therefore they can be bleeding into your finances. And so if you're feeling that, I'm bringing that up of like, first just see it and ask yourself, like, am I in an abundant mindset or am I in a scarce one? Yes. And if you're in a scarce one, maybe even surround yourself with environments or people who are speaking about things about this so that you can little bit by little bit, keep rewiring yourself and being like, oh, I can see how I'm responding out of scarcity in that way. And even if you just bring in the awareness, it allows you to be like, oh, I'm going to take a pause on that decision. And maybe selling at this time is the scarce decision and it's not coming from abundance, but like, what would my abundant self really want in this time? And so that took me like a solid 6 months, and I had help to be able to help make abundant decisions. But I bring that up just like, we're human beings and we respond to our emotions. So like acknowledging the elephant in the room of what we're feeling is really important to make the abundant decisions for our abundant self.
This is great. This is definitely not, I like coming into this. I'm like, onboarding, man. It's like, okay, this is going to be like old ground or kind of stale. And it's like maybe a boring discussion just because especially Karim and I have done it so often, but this is great. I mean, especially with your perspectives added in there, Whitney, I think you've really helped guide the discussion here about having a philosophy underlying your own tactics and onboarding people. I mean, yeah, there's the technical components, and one of the things that makes me as bullish as I am, to carry on to my point earlier, is how many more tools we have now. Early on, we had Staker app, but before that, people were doing MetaMask on their phone and being really dangerous and doing things, not using Trezors or ledgers, to secure their wallets. Yeah, now we have all this great information. Papa Boner's been a good friend of mine, been out there beating the drum for a long time on security. So I think we have a more secure community than most, because of that education that's been put out there. And now the DeFi nature of what's happening within our own community. GoPulse.com, fantastic. I use it all the time. That's basically my track right now, right?
Shout out to those guys. Oh my God, I love this. It's all, the portfolio thing is just so pretty.
It's great, man. It's great. And then Hex Scout. Fantastic. It's like I just started digging into that recently. Absolutely phenomenal. I believe they spoke on the conference yesterday. Please go back and watch that. But yeah, there's so many great tools now, and it's nice to have different options for people that are safe, right? And it's like, and you can vet that stuff out. It's like, always do your own research, not financial advice, yada, yada. But it's like, you can vet it out by having a community like we have, where you can go get trusted advice, but then also resources for you to go read the information yourself. Just because I say it, or Karim or Whitney or anybody else says it, that is not good enough. That's not your own research. Right? It's like my favorite quote from the movie from Richard. It's like, oh, did I write it down? I think I wrote it down somewhere. But basically it was like, don't, I'm going to slaughter it. I'll share it later. I'll find it and then I'll say it right. But I'll pass the baton to Karim.
It's very well said. And then one more thing why, again, personally, I've loved math so much and, repetitions, because it's literally kind of like, has so much teachings and kind of like it's a way of life, because you see math everywhere, number everywhere, Fibonacci, things are in natures. And what I've always loved at a young age about math, it's like I call it the study of exactitude. There is no guessing. It's just a right or wrong. It fixed because it brings that level of clarity, that level of balance. Like Whitney perfectly says, human's gonna human, right? The funny quote. Because this is the reason why we have, psychology on market cycle and this, that. It's nothing new. Yeah, it even was there before even crypto. It's just humans gonna human. So once you understand that you are a human and that you are, you got those feelings and roller coaster, and it's almost like in the biblical way. And not saying I'm not religious like that, but it's like you cannot always be happy and you cannot always be sad. There's always gonna be fluctuation. But having that self-awareness. Like when I used to do sales professionally, one of my biggest mentors had this really cool quote that I love. He says, don't let your high get too high and don't get your low get too low. Be even, quill, be still. When you're too low, be self-aware of that. Pick yourself back up. You don't have to lie to yourself. You're just gonna say, all right, we're in a tough patch right now. You know what I mean? We're gonna come back up. And one of the best ways to do that is gratitude and acceptance. You know what I mean? Don't try to deny it. If you fuck up before, it's okay. Just say, hey, I fuck up. I messed up. You know what I mean? Don't try to ignore it, put it in the corner, bottle up that feelings, because sooner or later it's gonna pop back up in the most unexpected ways and mess things up for you. So just allow it to, that was a low moment. I understand it. I accept it. I embrace it. It is still part of me, but I can do better. And then pick yourself back up. Same thing when your high gets too high, you get euphoric, you get all this other stuff. We get caught in those things too. Find a way to bring it down a little bit. Like, all right, cool. I had my fun. You know what I mean? I had to be vindicative a little bit. There's some haters over there. I get it out of my system, right? Like I was saying when I first got to Miami, whatever. But then I bring it down and that's like, all right, cool. Let's find the balance in between. And math is that great teacher where it can brings you that. So then when people are trying to play you in motion, it's like, nah, I run the math. I run the numbers. This is what it is. And that's what I did with HEX and the staking ladder and whatever, because now I can indirectly truly ignore price. I just know what to be true, right? My hypothesis. The system works. It is decentralized. I will stake those HEX. This will be printed. This is what I will get in the end. I can watch the daily progression. I know where I'm going to be. I cannot control what the price will be, but that is irrelevant. Like I've said people all the time, dream account level 1, right? Is when you leave off the interest and you restake the principal, price is truly irrelevant. Let me say it again. Repetition works. When you leave off the interest, right? Restake the principal, price is truly irrelevant because you literally just cashing out the excess that's being generated, the extra coins. And once you understand also as a good premise that Crypto is here to stay. Inflation is not going to stop. Government's going to keep printing money. It's up and to the right on the macro view. It's not in a straight line. You do all kinds of stuff. But if you pick two distant points and you enlarge them, you know where this is going. So all you need to do once you understand that is, again, what is my conviction? What is the lifestyle that I want to have? Which is also based on my values of what is the story that I want to create for myself, right? Because I'm the actor of my own movie. How do I want to live? And then once I understand that, right, it's like I get into the Uber and I got the destination of where I want to go, how I'm going to go about it. Now, all I got to do is just build the plan to get there. And once you build the plan, trust me, you get excited, you get energy because you know your why. Like Simon Sinek used to say back in the day, it's so powerful, cliche, but true. No, start with why. Know why you're there. Green candle, red candle, it doesn't matter. You got a target. I had a target. I was like, I'm going to build this many stakes. I'm going to do this. I expect the price to be here roughly by X amount of years. And then I just build from there. And then everything else, all the noise, you're going to be able to easily move it away. It's just going to ricochet off you, like kind of like water in the rain, because you know why you're here. If you don't have that, then those rain becomes like bullets, and then I pierce through the armor, and next thing you know, you become a target. You know, I'm just like hyenas. You know what I mean? They have a sixth sense. They can tell when you're like, oh, he's weak. Oh, he's wounded. Let me just go for his neck. You don't want to be like that. Now, be like a wolf too. Move with the pack. Again, it's about understanding thyself. Not everybody has a strong mind, right? But you can build it up to get there. Nobody just woke up and become, oh my God, I just born strong. No, we had to have repetition. We had to have practice. We had to have conviction. But that came with a lot of practice, repetition, building the skills. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, like a cycle, because it becomes positive reinforcement. Then you get a little bit of results, which then becomes positive reinforcement, right? Reflexive system, right? Green candle brings more green candle. Look how excited people are today. But if you had the conviction from the get-go, you just knew, oh shit, this is one of those buying the dip opportunity to get to where I need to go based on the journey that I want to design, keyword, by design for yourself. So when we become, again, as a community, mainly financially free, we're not going to let people say, oh, you guys got lucky. What you mean lucky? It's not lucky.
It's by design.
By design.
Yep. It's
okay,
code.
I'm having such a quantum moment right now. So Karim, as I'm hearing you speak, it's hitting me where I'm like, oh my God. So my mentor who onboarded me, he was just like, he's like, this HEX thing, like back in 2020, before the last big payday, he was like, this is it. He's like, I'm learning from the most brilliant people in the room. He was learning from you. And I'm pretty sure it was the quant gang. Like it was from all four of you. So I was just like,
absolutely.
Oh, this makes so much sense. And this is like another reason why
you get it from the source today.
Yeah, right. Get it from the source today, right?
Yes. And coming full circle. And it's just like, wow, when you do have a community that is really all like fully educated, fully like not drinking the juice, but fully wired to that way and have that repetition. Anyone that we bring in then gets to have that. And then you get to ripple it out to other people where it's like smart just keeps feeding smart. And it changes people's worlds and the way that they think in a way that like you can't thank someone enough for being like, whoa, you helped me see the world in a whole new lens.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like, and I found the quote. It says, and this is from the part in the movie where Kelly Richmond Pope is asking Richard why she should trust him. And he says, you should not use as a proxy someone else's confidence for your own due diligence. Exactly. So, you know, I mean, you can't really put it any better than that, right? And it's like, and what's so nice about the educated people that you know, your mentor and then ultimately you were learning from Whitney is that we've got resources to back it up. It's been tested and like just like in the crucible of fire, you know, like a sword being beaten into a stronger blade. It's, you know, it has been challenged over and over from so many different places. We have had to have answers at the ready. You know, because it's try to dismantle a well-educated hexagon, right? With FUD or information that's just not right. It's like we will bring you to the source of the information. We will be able to spit it at you, and then we will be able to direct you to it so you can go confirm it for yourself. That's the difference in this community that really I think makes it so much different than others.
Very well said, because ultimately the true power is within. It comes from inside. This is kind of almost in a funny way how, like, you know, God had his funny way to make sure that everything that's truly valuable ultimately is earned, right? Because we come from a place of when you're young, when you're a baby or whatever, you come from a place of not knowing to knowing. But the funny thing is those things were always within, right? You always could talk, you always could walk, you always could do all those amazing things. You just didn't know you could. And then until the self-awareness came in, this is where the repetition is so important. The learning process is just a process of rediscovering what's already within. And this is why the work must be done. This is why when I onboard people, I share my story, I get them excited, all this other cool stuff. I have the receipts, obviously, the lifestyle, but then ultimately I told them the work must be done. Because a lot of the time, I get hit with, oh, Karim, when I just send you the money, you do it for me. No. First of all, I don't need the drama, but more importantly, I want you to truly learn. Because everybody's kumbaya when the green candle comes, right? It's when the red candle comes that we know who's who. It's when we know who's really battle tested. You know what I mean?
Still here.
And you don't have to be a diehard Hexagon. It's just a matter of you will rediscover who you really are also. The same way where, if you're a real man, when tough situation comes in and you gotta stand your ground and you will discover. And if you discover that you're not that strong yet, that's okay. At least you know. Now, what are you going to do about it? Again, acceptance and build from there. Instead of just have this false impression of who you think you are that you're not. And then when the tough time comes in, you get punched in the face. You got no plan. You don't understand what's going on. And then you're really going to get washed out, right? The same way we had to pay the dues. We were there in 2017. We were there when we got crushed. Everybody, most people know my story about EOS, how I was there from the beginning, community, all this other stuff, right? To this day, the biggest raise, $4 billion, whatever. We had a crazy community. And guess what? They took the money and then they ran. But then I said, never again. What can I learn from that situation? All those things that we talk about when we say, oh, Richard Hart, HEX, this, that, decentralization. It came after painful learning experience when sometimes we thought we were the know-it-all. And then we find out the hard way. This is why DeFi is the real thing. When you're like, oh, this exchange, and then FTX gone.
Yep.
You thought never.
That's perfect case in point right there. It's because confidence. It's think about what a con is, right? It's short for confidence. Starts with confidence. You got a confident leader that's telling you everything you want to hear. A lot of circular reasoning, a lot of hyperbolic language, and they get you excited about it, right? And that's how a lot of scams work. If you look at how HEX was originally marketed, it was marketed like a scam is marketed. Why? Because it works, right? The difference is that our confidence is based in fact. Is based in code, it is based in evidence, and it's provable on chain, right? It's like Richard's tweet today about, what's going on with the SEC thing. It's blockchain solves this. Blockchain solves lots and lots. I don't want to say everything, but blockchain solves a lot. If it's verifiable on chain and, and you can see how the code is written and that there are no keys and it's immutable, these are things that are paramount to the projects that you should even entertain, because people are going to talk a good game, but you dig a little deeper and watch them start tap dancing. If they can't answer your questions, run for the exit, right? If they are not there for you,
it's called trustless trust for a reason. Like I told some of my big friends when we do big transaction, millions of dollars, I say, listen, you can trust this not because you like me. You can trust it because it is trustless. I don't need to be here for it to work. And like I told all my friends, even if Richard Hart is not here, the code will still work. Obviously we love to have in the community, but the point of the matter is that once you understand what really you own, this is why in the bear market, when people talking nonsense and the guys on here, I'm like, remember your training, remember your teaching, remember why you're here. It's already one thing if you knew, you didn't know. So I come here, I'm gonna educate you. But if you already been here for a while, sometimes I was testing even some of my friends, I'm like, you know the teaching. Why you keep asking me the same thing you already know? And at some point I say, you have a decision to make. Either you understand what you own and you do the work, or you don't, and then you sell, and that's fine. Either way, I still love you. But you need to understand this is why this works. This is why we are here. And we have seen this movie before over and over and over again. But to this day, even though I've seen it so many times, I still practice repetition. Because you got to stay humble. You got to humble yourself or life will humble you. You get too cocky. You forget the teachings. You forget that, bear markets also exist, that things, it fluctuates. You're going to get, spank in the face. You want to.
Well, and Karim, I bet you've experienced this, and Whitney, you as well, perhaps. Where people will come to you and it's basically, in a nutshell, it's what button do I push to get rich?
Well,
and that is, as an onboarder and as an educator, that's a red flag for me that's maybe an onboard I don't want to work with. So I'll press them on it. I'll be like, hey, if you want to learn and understand, then I will gladly take you under my wing and I will talk to you about it endlessly. It's like, I'll give you my phone number. We'll talk. We'll figure it out. But if you're just wanting like that, it's like, then no, you're the wrong kind of investor. That's bad for you. That's bad for the community. That's bad for the price chart. It's like, that is just ripe with drama in the future. And I don't want any part of it. So it's like, if you want to learn, great. If you want to know what button to push to get rich, I'm not your guy. But it's like, I think everybody on this stream, if you want to learn, these are resources that you can go to and they can point you to the source documents so you can educate yourself. And then maybe next year you're on the conference and we can all take a break.
Exactly. And one more thing, if you want what I would call, this is like a little bit like advanced onboarding. I mean, to do this, you have to care. Cause I mean, I just really care. When I find that somebody heart is in the right place, I call it's my favorite word that I watch out for in the English dictionary. I'm watchful to see if people have malice, because some people, they're just clueless. They do stupid things, but there's no malice. It's just, they just don't know. They're just truly ignorant into what is actually happening. Once I realized that you don't have any malice, then at that point I was like, all right, cool. Let me spend a little bit more time with this person. Let me deprogram, because here's another thing people don't understand. You always learn. One of my favorite quotes, right? I'm a quote guy. Abraham Lincoln said it best. You know what I mean? I've always learned from people. It's just that sometimes I've learned what not to do. Let me say it again, repetition. I've always learned from people. It's just that sometimes I've learned what not to do. When somebody do something bad or whatever, you're still learning. You're learning what not to do. You need to remember that, print that into your head. When we tell people like, oh, it's buy low, sell high, but a lot of people buy high, sell low, and you watch it happening live, you need to remember that training. Something is being taught to you in front of you. Are you self-aware to register that? When we say like Warren Buffett, like, hey, you know what I mean? The sentiments, right? When it's like you be fearful, right? When the, what's the quote again?
Buy when there's blood in the streets, and what is it? Be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy.
Exactly. All those things are teaching to show you live what is actually happening. So when I have familiar those people, I want to deprogram so many other bad things, because sometimes they come in, especially in Miami, there's a lot of people that got a lot of money, but they did NFT, they did quick flip, they did scam, they did whatever. So a lot of the time, I sometimes have to deprogram all of you don't need none of that nonsense, none of that manipulation. Again, that's after I find out that you have no malice, and then you stick around and everything's cool, because I understand also from sales, and I watch people. It's like, make them like you, make them trust you, make you make sense. Okay, you can't make sense to somebody that doesn't trust you, and you can't trust somebody that you don't like. That's just a human thing. It's back from psychology to how the reptilian brain works. Two people can say the same exact thing. One people will be like, man, you're full of shit, and then the other guy comes in, the one that's loved and trust, he said the same exact thing. Oh my God, he's a genius, because he doesn't understand. You need to like deprogram to allow the brain to accept the new information. Because like Whitney said it best, those people sadly in here, it's a zero-sum game. They operate out of scarcity. Like, I got to scam this guy to get this money and da-da-da. So there's a lot of fast thing. So you have to watch out for that. But then if you really want to help somebody, again, this is more advanced. You spend more time, sometimes a little one-on-one. But, sometimes I deal with big on board. As long as I know that they're in the right place, their heart is in the right place, they just don't have the tools, they don't have the training, then I'll deprogram all the other stuff. Then I'll come in, and then I'll bring the value that what HEX represent, but more importantly, the core value into why you even in the financial place, like financially free. Some people think that it's just all about money. I got these people, Karim, I need $10 million. I'm going to live like you did it. And then by the time I'm done, again, deprogram, put the value, inspire people, share the story, all this other stuff. Sometimes 3 months goes by, 6 months goes by. You realize that the guy is happy, financially free, and he only need for him where he stays, he only need about $650,000. And that's the plan that we're building for. You know what I mean? And then assuming price goes up, even better, right? People know my story. I had a 10-year plan. Price went up so much. I did it in 4 years, 3.5, whatever. So it just goes to show, once people know exactly what is it they actually want, that make them tick, that give them the values that they're looking for, and they realize they don't have to lie, cheat, scam, manipulate, that you have a loving community. Because at first you're like, man, those Hexicans, why are they so happy? Why are they doing all this thing? Like, they don't know me like that, because I understand growing up in Africa, seeing wars and whatever, because I've seen scarcity. I know what it looks like. It's just poverty. That's what it is. People can't trust nobody. They're like, man, you're nice to me. Why are you nice to me? Like, what's going on? Something's wrong. What do you want from me? You know what I mean? When are you going to betray me? Type, people always worried about those things. Once they can literally finally put the guy down and understand that, listen, I'm already financially free. whether you get involved or not, that doesn't change. But let me share my story. Let me show you what I'm about. Let me inspire you. And then, boom, it clicks. Once it clicks, you just get out of the way.
I think a few huge themes that we've been coming back to with like, yes, onboarding, we all know technical support that exists. That's dry and easy. Go to your YouTube videos. You got those. But a big part that we keep bringing up is around the aspect of your vision. And I find this too, like, especially with women, like I love my women and I love being a woman and I love our emotions. And it becomes very easy when I'm onboarding people, like the moment where they're like, I trusted this, but like I suddenly like want to go from 40K down to 20K. Like I don't trust this anymore. I don't feel safe. And I'm like, okay, can we like talk this through a little bit? Like what's actually there? And a lot of times what people actually need to do is I'm asking them, I'm like, hey, why are you doing this? What is your vision? What is the life that you are building beyond this? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people don't have spaces or containers or even friendships where they can just talk about the dreams that they're creating. And instead, like speaking their things out loud sometimes feel too daunting in a way. So I've been like, I hosted a dinner party for some of my best friends over here just 2 nights ago. And I asked people, I was like, it's 2024. Like, who do you want to be coming this year? Like, where are you going to? And so even like I find invitations like that of being able to ask people, like even strangers too, like, hey, who are you becoming this year? What is on the plan? What is the vision? Because that way we can actually see what the vision is, and then we can reverse engineer and just build that back. And like everything we've been coming back to, where it's like vision, and then the other thing around confidence, it's like confidence really just is built with repetition, time and time again, deprogram, reprogramming, building. Like my engineer, I'm a civil engineer, formerly a civil engineer, so like. Literally building houses is how I see things of like, we're building roadways in our minds. If you build a new roadway, it will take you to a new outcome, but you actually have to build the roadway. So anyways, it looks like we are about to wrap that up.
Yeah, man,
that's great way to wrap up indeed.
This has been great. You know, Maddie, can I drop one more opium for the haters just for fun?
Of course.
All right, hold on. I need to share my screen. Tell it ducks anyway, so might as well do it for fun. This is one more friendly reminder to people that, again, how powerful, again, HEX is, what he has done, changed my life. But more importantly, I hope it is not to brag. It is just to inspire people to understand what really, really is going on here, to kind of, tell the haters that, we never left, we never changed. And like Tobiwan's been saying, I've been saying, it's all math, it's all provable. And it's not something that, it's going to be able to clear some of the doubters, I guess you could say. So let me pull it up.
We can share a screen, but no audio.
No, that's fine. It doesn't need to be an audio. It will just be like, I'm just going to briefly, let's see. Boom.
And update, I guess Richard Hart just tweeted 15 minutes ago. How's everybody feeling? It's cool when Price does a 2X.
Yeah.
People pointed out the last time he tweeted, "How are you feeling?" He launched Pulse Chain.
I know.
Nice.
This is awesome.
Nice.
And his comments are on.
Yeah.
It's a big change.
Yeah, he did it earlier. The timing was just perfect. I mean, literally. Nice. And then I love the 11 lawyers. It's funny. I got this little vision, like one of the movie, like, the guy walked in with an army of lawyers. That's how I picture in my head. I saw the names. It's really cool. 11 of them. It's like, wow. It's like, this is great. Again, fighting for our freedom and for what we believe. So that's really good. All right. So share screen here. Manny, let me know if you can see. It says share screen and boom, share. Okay. Can you see it?
Got it.
Can you guys hear me too or not?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, fun fact, shout out to Hex Scout here. But for all the haters here, I didn't realize until I came here and played with it for fun, it's actually here. Look at that.
That's right. I forgot about that. The Dream account.
The baby Dream account, right? I'm right here with the greatest greats, but it's a cool, friendly reminder. Oh yeah, it's up $1 million today. Not bad. But for people hating, right? If you don't understand what this is,
somebody clip that. That's awesome.
Yeah, this is the Dream account. Since back in the day, if you ever heard the story, and if you ever heard the haters telling you, "Oh, Karim sold and and he did this and he did that," also the bullshit. Well, here's to dispel the facts, right? Sticking average, as I've been saying since the beginning, 12.5 years, 12.3 left. Look at this. These stakes have been running for 3.5 years since the very, very beginning, literally within 2 to 3 months after I first got in, before big payday and whatever. And then for those who don't know, this Dream Accounts is level 4. It's a little bit more advanced. Find out later about the levels. I can break it down for you afterwards. But yeah, nothing here is less than 10 years. This is the retirement account, long account. Pulse chain is added as well. But what I really want to bring the attention to people is that, again, the things that you do not see in the chart, right? It's been running since the beginning when I was getting about 2 HEX per T-share. Now it's doing 66% APY. But the cool part is, is that it's doing it on 2-chain, right? So it started literally just to show we're not too far from the early prices. When I first got in, it was like, 2,000 of a penny or whatever, with just a little bit above that. And I remember buying also at 6,000 of a penny, which is literally what we were yesterday. And then this is the things you don't see in the chart, right? Obviously, the big payday helped a little bit here. But look at how many HEX it's growing, right? Mm-hmm. Look how fast. You don't see that in the chart, irrespective of price. If you understand the target and this little bump that you saw here, this is when Pulse Chain launched. Because now, shout out HEX, how we see on 2-chain. And then now the distance when he did the first, just kind of show the people from roughly here, when he reached 100 million HEX to where it is here, when he reached 200, which is right around here, right? Now watch how on less than half the time, it's already doing 230. This is what we were trying to talk about with Tobiwan. We were saying exponential growth. Like the time that it took to get the first 100 mil is going to be much less to take the next one and then the next one and then the next one. And the way it's trending, if the payout increase, this will be $1 billion HEX by the time it expires or more. And the cool thing is they don't really have it here. That's the one thing maybe come for the upgrade, but it's not even showing the hedron, which is also something that you can collect from that. So this is a little mini opiums, and then for the haters to let them know, oh, Karim sold and this, that, and all this other nonsense. Well, now you know it's not true. So stop sharing.
Cool.
So yes.
Thanks to all of you for everything you're doing in the community. Where can people find you guys?
Oh, me right here on screen. So Your Magic is on Twitter, right, with a nice HEX background. And then on IG, it's Karim Crypto 5555. Now, fair warning, mainly HEX stuff and question and math and everything is on Twitter. Reach out to me there. On the IG, it's more like the lifestyle. It's Miami, it's travel. But then again, we'll put our money where our mouth is. I say I'm retired. I say this is really the HEX value. So you go on IG, you get to see the vision about if you build your staking ladder and you get to where I am and all this other cool stuff, this is the kind of lifestyle you can have. And if you happen to be around in Miami or where I'm at, because I travel the world too, then, we can always connect and then hang out.
Perfect. Tobiwan?
I'm on X at Tobiwan_Hexobi. And then on Tuesday nights, I'm happily part of the Game Theory Gang on Maddie's channel. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
And Whitney?
Thanks.
And I'm on X at Whitney_magic, and then Instagram for anyone, the spiritual conscious women who want to get into crypto, Whitney.magic.crypto. There you go.
Awesome. Well, thanks to all of you, and catch you later.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.